I'm talking to Gary Haven, and I want to talk to him about the things that he witnessed in Haiti related to the Clinton Foundation. Of course, Gary, we're getting all of these emails that are being released by people showing the internal workings, the corruption, the pay for play that's happening with the Clinton Foundation. But you have some eyewitness things that you saw in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation. Tell us about what you saw there.
You know, David, 10 days after the earthquake in Haiti, I was over there with my aircraft, and the goal was to bring in doctors to help these people and to take orphans back to the hospitals in Miami. And I've been over there so many times I can't even count anymore. In fact, I've been feeding 10,000 children a day in Haiti. We ship over beans and corn and rice. And so I've had a firsthand account. A couple other interesting things I've done. I flew George Bush over in my aircraft, met with the current president of Haiti, and got to see an inside from the presidential palace of who was doing what in the environment. And by the way, I took Senator Rand Paul, who's an eye surgeon, over last November, and he and two other surgeons were able to remove cataracts from the 200 elderly, desperately poor Haitians. One day they were blind and had been many for 20 years. And the next day they could see. So
amazing.
I know what it is to get things done over there. But I tell you what, I've watched the Clinton Foundation raise hundreds of millions of dollars specifically for Haiti. And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen any evidence that they've spent money on the Haitians. Senator Paul told me that people who had studied this had found that 96% of the money that was given to the Clinton Foundation for Haiti relief, 96% was spent on the Clintons, on family member salary, on exotic travel. You know, for someone who takes their money and gives it to help the poor, the widows, the children, the starving, to see the blatant theft that the Clintons have done with the Haiti initiative is just incredible. You know, David, you've been reporting on the Clinton Foundation, and I want to aim in a couple things that you've talked about. You know, they first founded the foundation not in the U.S., but in Canada. And the reason they did that is the Canadian version of foundations does not require the disclosure of who makes the donations. and so why did the Clintons create their foundation in Canada? Well, they wanted to provide cover for the people that were giving them money, that were paying to play, of course. And then, by the way, when they transfer the money from the Canadian version of the foundation to the U.S. version, it's basically laundered money. And this is the most blatant RICO crime scheme, and we're now talking probably about $1 billion, and it's done right in our faces. Why doesn't the IRS go after these people? Why doesn't the feds go after them? Because it is so obvious and in our face. You know, we simply live in a lawless society now. And as a free American, I'm tired of it. You know, I'm demanding justice, not just for the starving Haitians who have been deprived of food because of people like Hillary Clinton, but the American people that have been duped into thinking these are good people when this is one of the biggest con games in the history of the world. Imagine laundering $1 billion of money from heads of government, from dictatorship, to trade favors as the Secretary of State. This isn't hard to understand. And I know a lot of the American people have drank the Kool-Aid, and you know they're not used to thinking critically, but this is so in your face, crime and theft. It's such a magnitude. I don't think we should dare let the criminal Clinton family, and by the way, Hillary is a one-woman crime wave.
Yeah.
And we have the evidence to arrest her and charge her with innumerable crimes.
But of course, no prosecutor in their right mind would do that, according to the FBI director. He could come in and talk about all the felonies that she's committed, and then at the same time say, but no prosecutor would do this. Oh, but don't you try this at home, because we just had a case where a guy got a year in jail for 6 and they were classified confidential photos that he took in a submarine where he was working. Okay, he admitted it, unlike her, who's still denying it. And for those 6 confidential things, and yet she's revealing stuff that is above top secret. There are people in the NSA that Judge Napolitano, as well as William Binney, have said they believe that she is a danger to their lives. We had Rudy Giuliani this weekend saying that what they're involved in, exactly what you said, is racketeering, influence. It's a corrupt organization. That is the essence of the Clinton Foundation, the money laundering that's going on there. We've seen that as well now revealed in these emails. We've been drawing all of these dots to everybody. And I think, Gary, it's kind of like a fatigue that the public has. It's like they think they've heard it all before because there's been so many of these corruption scandals. It's hard to get their attention.
You know where the fault lies, David, in the solution? You're supposed to have a two-party system, or at least a multiple-party system in this country. And there's another party called the Republicans. And the Republicans now have been compromised. They've been bribed. They've been bought and paid for. The establishment Republicans are more dangerous to our country than the Democrats. We know the Democrats are corrupt and communist, and that's hopeless. But the establishment Republicans that walk among us and act as if they're constitutionalists, they're the ones that need to rise up. And when the prosecutors want to bring charges, or when the Justice Department sits on their hands and makes excuses, as Comey did, the Republican Party, our congressmen, our senators should stand up, and they should initiate charges of treason and all variety of crimes and do their damn job instead of letting these criminals have a pass. I blame the establishment Republicans and their compromised, bought and paid for attitude over this thing. And people like me can demand from their Republican representatives, go to Washington, do your job. We don't care if you're uncomfortable. We don't care if people ridicule you. Bring back the rule of law to this country and prosecute these people and charge them with treason if need be. And I tell you what, the American people are waking up, and they know that the Republican Party is bought and paid for. And if you want to keep your jobs, then you better start doing your jobs.
Because what we've got right now is we've got a single party. It's been revealed. I think that's one of the key things to come out of the Trump campaign. We understand that there is a single party, a globalist party, that involves the people at the top of both the Republicans and the Democrats. They all work for the same people. They have the same agenda, even though the Republicans will lie to us about it. The Democrats at least will say what they're going for, okay? But for the most part, the Republicans will lie to us about it. Why? Because they work for the same people and because they want those levers of power. They're not going to come after Obama when he unconstitutionally puts out executive orders. They will allow that to sit there because they want that power when they get in his place.
You know, it's not just that. It's kind of a reasonable position to take. I think it's more heinous than that. They're letting Obama get away with outright treason. And by the way, I'm so proud of Trump to start talking about ISIS being a creation of Obama and Hillary. You know, I've been talking about that for over a year now. You know, when ISIS went into Mosul and took over 2,500 armored Humvees, it had the keys in the ignition, by the way, you know, and $1 billion worth of military equipment. And we didn't send in a couple of F-18s to destroy it. We literally equipped the ISIS army, and that was a deliberate act.
Yes.
And the media, of course, doesn't want to talk about that. I knew then that ISIS was a creation and a proxy army that the elitists were using to accomplish their goals. But I don't think the Republicans are doing it because they want the power. You see, there's a global movement. And now we're talking about it. It's all of us. Trump is talking about it. See, Trump is the nationalist candidate.
That's right.
Brexit was about nationalism versus globalism. Marine Le Pen in France. We now are openly talking about globalism versus nationalism. And see, globalists know that ultimately to acquire absolute power, and by the way, absolute power corrupts. It corrupts absolutely, but most people don't know the third line of that. The third line of that quote is most powerful men are bad men.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important part of the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are bad men that are furthering the move towards globalism because they do want absolute power. And they may, they may be successful in creating the illusion that it's going to be in our best interest. For example, that it's going to avoid World War III. But it's not in our best interest. They want power for power's sake. And I don't care whether they're an establishment Republican, or one of these communist Democrats that we've got. They want to run and ruin our lives.
And you see the way that they're aligned. You see the fact that both Republican establishment and Democrats hate Trump the same. And when he exposes their plans, I say conspiracy theorists. And he's like, no, he's a conspiracy exposer, okay?
Yeah.
He's exposing this conspiracy. He's speaking honestly about what is happening. And we can all see that. Yeah. We're not stupid. That's why I think he is resonating with the masses. Why he's got 400,000 people giving him an average of $55 a piece, whereas Hillary Clinton is going in and getting her multi-million-dollar contributions from Soros and these other elitists up on Martha's Vineyard, this last weekend. But that's the essence. He has put his finger on it. The fact that it is globalism versus nationalism, the fact that they're both in this together, and exposing how this has been going on for quite some time. And I think it's absolutely amazing how these leaks are now underscoring everything that we've been saying, everything that he's been saying, so that it's not a theory. We actually have the documents if people care to look at it. But of course, they leaked all the stuff about George Soros, and we don't even have an acknowledgement that there was a leak from the mainstream media, let alone talking about the content.
Yeah, it's so amazing right now. If you're on the fence about whether you should vote for Trump or Hillary, let me just give you a quick example. A few weeks ago, they had a report to campaign funding, and the hedge fund banking system, the Wall Street people, at this point of the campaign 3 weeks ago, had given Hillary $147 million in donations. What did they give Trump? Now remember, these are people that are buying power. They'd given Trump $18,000. Okay, so who owns whom? It's a real simple decision. Guys, if you want your country back, you need to wake up. Trump's the only guy we've got hope in, that he might actually be rich enough to not be viable and courageous enough to not be afraid. We've got to get behind Trump and support him if we have any hope of taking our country back.
Already we've had a massive victory because people can see the alignment. They can see what Trump has pulled back the curtain and shown this to people, and the mainstream media and the political establishment just goes crazy whenever he does this stuff. But we understand because we've been looking at this for quite some time. And I think there are a lot of people, even on the inside of government, I believe that these leaks are coming not from Russia. I believe they're coming from people who are patriots on the inside of the American government. We've had multiple people saying that. I think they want to expose this. They understand the criminality that's involved in this. Thank you, Gary. We're going to be right back. Stay with us.
Brain Force is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brain Force.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're gonna crash, you're gonna feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again until it became sort of a grand puzzle. For example, the L-theanine inside of it, that is activated by the different compounds in the yerba mate that we put inside of it as well. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a car will run on one form of junkie gas, but it runs really good on what it's designed for. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.